Hello dear teachers, how are you? Are you doing good? Have you followed the instructions that I provided? Please keep following those things. Yes, we are trying to make something nice here. So we all should work together and make sure that everything goes well. Now, today I'm going to teach you about water cycle. Now, this water cycle is very important for all of us. You should make sure your students understand the science of nature. The water cycle is a natural cycle. We do not control it. The nature controls it. Yes? Now, if somebody would say that, well, this is the creations of God. If you believe it in that way, that's it. So it's running on its own systematic way. It has got a very important thing or important aspects. What is that aspect? The aspect is, if there were no water cycle in the world, then we would all have been dead by centuries. The human being won't have the capacity or didn't have the capacity if there were no water cycle present in the earth. Let me explain you how. Yes, we drink water, do we not? Without drinking water, can you live for some days? Yeah, perhaps you can live for 1 day, 2 days, not more than 10, I guess. You cannot live without water forever. Yeah, so water is essential for us, and it is also essential for rest of the animals living on the earth, especially trees. They are living on water. They make their foods using water from the ground and using the sunlight, right? We have learned it, photosynthesis. So, water cycle is important. And all of us, we drink fresh water. Can you drink water from the sea? It's very salty. Come on, you cannot drink it. You cannot possibly think of drinking it, can you? No, you cannot. So, we drink fresh water. Now, to get fresh water, you should have the reserve of fresh water on the earth. And the journey or the water cycle is the system or natural system that gives us this fresh water. Think how important it is. If there were no water cycle, we wouldn't have get more and more fresh water. So what would have happened? Whatever fresh water we had on the earth at the beginning, the people would have drank it, and once all the water they have drank all the water is gone, then what would have happened? They wouldn't have found much sources of water. So if there were no water cycle, all the waters that were drinkable would have been gone. And if it is gone, you could not drink fresh water and you could not drink the salt water. Therefore, you would have to die. Same applies for the rest of the animals, trees, plants, and rest of the elements of nature, we could say. So if nothing was getting water, nothing could have lived for this long. So This is where the water cycle has been helping us for centuries, billions of years. How? And what is this water cycle? The water cycle is the continuous journey of water in which it goes from the earth on the atmosphere and return back to earth as fresh water. See, it is taking all types of water from the earth and it is filtering it and giving us fresh water back. This is what we call the water cycle. Yes, to simply put it, we have rains, right? The rains gives us water and we can drink that water. Can we not? Yes, and it's a very fresh water. So we get fresh water from rain. But how did the rain get water? It takes all the water from the earth and it becomes the cloud. And once the cloud becomes condenser, rains come. And that's how we get the fresh water. This whole process of raining is the water cycle process. I hope you guys have understood it quite well, right? So explain it to your student before you even get into the book. Okay? So this is what we call the water cycle. Now, this water cycle has got 4 different stages. That means the whole thing happens in 4 different stages. The scientists have identified it and today we will learn it. It will increase the attention of your students. Make sure you do it this way. Now, what are these 4 stages? The very first one is evaporation. Evaporation. Say with me, evaporation. Yes. The next one is condensation. 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 The next one is precipitation. 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 The next one is collection. 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 Yeah? Collection. What are these 4 stages now? Evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection. Have you got it? Now we will try to explain in detail to our students what happens in each stages of this water cycle. Okay? The very first one is evaporation. Now look at it, vapor. Do you know what's a vapor? It's the smokes. Yes, when you cook food or when you boil rice, you will see the water is going out from the pot and we can see it, yeah, as smoke. It's vapor. Now, evaporation is the process in which water becomes gas. How? Look at this. In the daytime, you could say the heat, you could feel the heat of the sun, right? So this heat also falls on the river, it falls on the ponds, it falls on the seas and oceans. All the things that are containing water, it is receiving the direct heat of the sun. And what happens? A portion of the water, it gets hotter. Yeah? It keeps boiling and it slowly becomes gas. And it keeps going up on the air and it keeps going up until it reaches to the layer. There's a layer where the vapors cannot move any farther in the environment or atmosphere. So there they start flowing. So they keep floating and more and more vapor keeps going there every day by the heat of the sun, and it keeps accumulating. Once it gets accumulated, we get the next stage. Now the process in which this water become gas and move it to the atmosphere, this is what we call evaporation. It has got this special name, and the name is transpiration. Now you could go and start reading from the book. Now the next stage is condensation. So you remember what happens in the evaporation stage? Water gets heat and become gas and start moving up and stays at a certain stage, right? And there more and more vapors keep gathering together. Once you gather or more thing keeps coming together, they become denser, right? Gas. If you put gas after gas after gas, or the smoke after smoke after smoke in a certain place, you see it will keep densing. Yeah? So they keep densing, and this is how the cloud formation is happening. So once these vapors gets together and they become denser, that means they get more and more vapor, they become denser and they form clouds. When the smoke become denser, they create a bond among them, and this bond is we call the cloud. And this whole process is known as condensation. That means from the evaporation, the vapor is becoming heavier now. See, it is attaching to another vapor, and other vapor. The more vapors are pouring in, and they become heavier. Okay? This is the process where we call them the condensation, and this is where they usually start to form the raindrops. Okay, so they become heavier. Now, next come to the precipitation. Precipitation. What happens here? Now, once the vapors keep accumulating, they become denser and denser. Once they are becoming denser, all of them are water, right? Remember, the water become gas, so water keeps again come together, they started to form water again. Now, if the cloud is having water, the cloud would get heavy, right? The weight of the cloud would increase. So this keeps happening. This is when we see the clouds are black. So when you see the black clouds, it means it has got lots of water condensed in that place. So it becomes so heavy that the air or the atmosphere cannot hold this vapor any longer, and it started to fall from the sky. What is this? This is what we call the rain. Now, some of the areas, it doesn't fall like rain, rather it falls like snow. What's the snow? Snow is just the form of ice. That means in some areas the weather is so cold that it becomes denser and become icy, and the ice keeps falling from the sky, just like the way rain falls from the sky. This is what we call the precipitation. Alright, so the water, we got these three stages. Water is evaporating, it is going to the sky, then it is condensing in the second stage, then it is falling back down to the earth as rain or as snowfall. Now what happens? These waters that are falling from the rains or as snow, they are becoming accumulated on the ground, right? So it slowly start to get into the ground and the ground start absorbing these waters, right? So when the ground start absorbing this water, it keeps go down below the earth, and in a certain place they start accumulation. That means the water do not go beyond a certain level below the ground. So we get the water from there, the fresh water, yeah, the tube well or even the well, the ponds that are giving us fresh waters, we get it from there. And in some areas that has got very icy environment or cold environment, they have got these glaciers. What are the glaciers? It's the mountain of ice. So during the summer days, these glaciers keeps melting and they get the fresh water. And what we do, we get the fresh water from the ground. So this is the collection process. And also some water will go to the river, river will become full-filled. So all the toxic or waste that the river water used to have, it goes down, washed away with the rain's water. This is how it is filtering the toxicity from the water of our earth. That's why the water cycle is very important. Now, have you understood the whole procedures of the water cycle? I hope the student will love to know this. If you could explain it to them in a very particular way to make it interesting, yes? To do so, after the class, you could do the experiment, the mini water cycle. So it is showing or telling what to do to make a mini water cycle. If you could do, please do it in the classroom. Well, first you try it. Once you could do it, then you show it to the students how you could make a mini water cycle. Alright guys, that's all. And once you are done, don't forget to go through the exercises. In the exercises, there is an art class of drawing this water cycle. Make sure you do these exercises with the students. They will love it. Okay, so that's all from the Chapter 6 Class 2. Alright guys, see you with the next topic. Bye bye.